All right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are back to playing Arzium, the finale, I think, we're going to do for whatever season one thing we're calling this. And sorry for the delay, tech gremlins rearing their heads. But I think we're just going to dive right in so that we can get going, right? So, quick recap. It's been a couple weeks. So, you all just generally have been traveling to the Toad City of Alm, the capital city, sort of the Toad Empire, so to speak. You were traveling with like a merchant with an iron crawler, which is like this like kind of steam powered or an hexite crystal powered steampunk contraption. Caravan broke down. You ventured out into the wilds to recover some parts from a factory that was rumored to be buried deep in the forests. Along the way, you met a bunch of different people, did a couple different things, including a widow named Varna, who was living by herself on a hut overlooking a very deep ravine. During your travels and such, your party got separated. Mac climbed down that ravine at one point to rescue his Srika friend, which is like a kind of a ram sort of character. And you all went searching for him. You kind of dove down into the caverns below this sort of mountain range, this ridge. You eventually found him near a giant underground lake. You encountered a ghost who turned out to be Varna's old husband, Rickard, who basically asked you to put his body to rest. So you ventured deeper into the mountain, where you encountered a large colony of violet spiders. You freed a Glogo by the name of Ordo, and you found the missing Srika. And then while trying to escape the mountain, you learned that there was some sort of ancient Arzian device, Arzians being like the this civilization before that, before like 1,000 years ago that fell, right? And it turns out that it's possible maybe this mountain could fly. You kind of sort of repaired the device in some ways. You drained some of the underground lake, and that's when you discovered Rickard's remains were in that lake. And then you found this alternate route out of the mountain back to Varna's hut. There, you met up with your traveling merchant friend Eldrin, who had repaired the iron crawler with the parts that you were able to deliver. He apparently spoke with a group of Grasskin, which are these tiny little dudes who were displaced and kind of threatened by these Krax raiders that you kept hearing about in the region. This is the second community you've heard about. The other being this friendly fish folk village who used to visit your friend Varna, but hasn't for quite some time. And when you all decided to pay a visit to the fish folk village, you found that it was deserted. There were signs of violence. And this, your Eldrin merchant friends said that the Grasskin were led by someone by the name of Fern, and they requested some help. And so their village was to the southwest. And so that's kind of where we were headed. Because also in the southwest, there was a volcano rendezvous point that your Glogo friend that you rescued by the name of Ordo was supposed to have like a meetup with the people that he got separated from. If they were to get separated, that's where they were going to meet. And so that's sort of a little bit of everything. That's kind of where we're at. So are we going to say that you all presumably rested at Varna's? Is that fair? Okay.
Yeah, yes, I believe so.
That's fair, yeah.
Okay, so if you haven't already done so, go ahead and reset your stuff. So it's 2 quarter days. Go ahead and put all your attributes back to max. Your health can go back to full. If you have conditions, you can remove one of them, and then you can gain 1 supply. Some of you I know have other things that you can get as well, like from your various talents. And then Jeremy, are we having a meal this morning? What do you think?
Yeah, definitely do that. I'll basically take the 2 supply that I got and then spend it on cooking us up a meal.
What do we have?
What do we have? It's breakfast time?
Yeah, we'll say breakfast time.
Yeah.
Start off in the early in the morning.
Okay, well, obviously you've got to have some flapjacks. You got to have some good, like, thick cut, like, pork belly, not bacon. Bacon's too passe. You need legitimate pork belly. You leave it kind of in the big swath, and you cut it in cubes, and you grind a bunch of, like, citrus over it. Kind of smoke it while the citrus seeps in. Getting some good maple flavoring, too. Some eggs. Just a big, hearty breakfast.
I'm genuinely getting hungry now. So,
Yeah, so
okay.
am I. I was like,
That's
good.
fantastic. So what is their bonus going to be then for today?
It'll be the 3 armor.
Okay. So all of you go ahead and note that in your character sheets you have 3 armor. Okay. So we'll say breakfast begins. Since Jeremy was talking, we'll go ahead and say Cecil, you can start off with the the first player token, as so to speak, as you're dealing this out. We see Varna's there, who she had like a rough night in some ways, like, but at the same time, like it was like a bittersweet moment. Like she knew Rickard was dead, right? She knew that was a thing, but at the same time, she's largely happy to have her, have her husband at least setting them to rest in some way, right? So questions for you. As you're sitting around and you've got old Elgvin coming in here with his Irish accent, because damn it, Kipster's making me do Irish accents lately. So he's here, Varna's here, and Cecil, give her some sort of concoction for her eyes again. Is there any other business that you would attend to here before you would leave? Like, and what do we do with the Srika and all that kind of stuff? Last plans?
I mean, Mac would say a tearful goodbye to his new best friends, the Styrka, but he would know they're better off here. So, and he would not want to take them away from Varna because she's a new best friend too.
Absolutely. Okay. So if that's the case, no, I was going to say, if that's the case, like we see back in the back, we see him with all of the other Srika, Tans Grisnir. I feel like I always feel like I'm skipping a syllable whenever I say it.
Tans Grisnir.
Okay, I got it right. I always think I was getting that wrong. So we see them out in the back by the messed up garden, by the windmill, kind of like roughhousing and stuff. You can definitely tell that the Srika are happy to be reunited, right? You can tell that they all seem to be happy that they're around. Go ahead, Sarla. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that and I could be wrong, but I thought that there was potentially some additional machinery research to do with the windmill here, if I remember correctly. Yeah, like if we're going to spend some time here.
Well, what you've learned basically is that she and Rickard, at some point in the past, when he was alive, they went and they saw the crash of this flying ship years and years and years ago, and they harvested some parts and some things, and apparently when you were examining that windmill before, you saw that it had some runes on it that suggested it might have been part of whatever mechanism helps these flying ships actually fly, because it had like weird effects on the winds and it was spinning in sort of strange ways. So that's essentially what you would have already known. If there's something you wanted to do, you're welcome to.
Would I be able to do anything with it so that she would have some ability to control it? So, like, it sort of does weird things with the wind that may be more or less helpful when people are trying to come and see her or whatnot. So, leaving her with
when you mention that to her, she's like, "You're going to come back." I can't remember the voice. Sorry, all I remember is that she always tilted up and squinted.
Very squinty.
All the time.
Yes.
You're going to come back. That sounds way too evil. But basically, when you mention about visitors, she's excited because she thinks you're going to come back. But Sarla, you can roll a craft test if you want to try to sort of put it together in a way that it's not going to continue to cause trouble. Like you would say at this point, more than likely, this is the reason why there's such strange wind in the area, and why all this strange stuff is happening. These gusts that are causing the rope bridge to have so much trouble, and probably, unfortunately, was the reason Rickard died.
The reason why I grinned while you were talking is because the analog in my mind is like leaving a grandparent with instructions on how to use the remote is sort of what I was imagining was happening, is like writing this out for her to use independently.
With a remote, huh? Okay, really dating yourself, Melissa. Okay. A remote. Why not a VCR?
Laserdisc.
The legitimate important thing in the werewolf campaign.
How'd you do in your craft? So just to remember, craft test. So how roll? I know it's been a while. You roll D10.
D10 plus
your target's a 7. No, it's not a puzzle bonus. It's whatever. If you want to commit points from your pool of craft to get your bonus. Okay. So did you roll?
I did roll, and I spent 2 craft, and I rolled a 4, which means that math adds to 6, which is not a success.
But we have memory knots, so if you wanted to tap into one of your memory knots, you can make an automatic 10. Maybe you describe. Do you describe maybe a memory of you fixing something similar for your own grandmother? Is that
yes,
maybe a flashback again? Okay,
That's exactly what it is. Like it's the mechanical piece of it I've got figured out, and then it's the translating that into like drawing the picture and writing the description of like what's happening, and I have to like scrap it and start over because I made it a little too technically complex.
Okay. So basically, maybe what we say is that you're able to, amongst maybe the parts that you found inside the factory, maybe you found a suitable replacement. So you can take out this like imbued magical gear and you can replace it with something more mundane. And in doing so, you can avoid any of the weird magical consequences of this kind of spinning around. Maybe something like that.
That works. I started to go with the like, here, I'll give you the how to do this. And then I was like, I know this is a bad idea.
I don't understand. It's not her voice. I don't know what her voice. I completely, it's terrible.
And then I remember that her eyes crust over after about, 24 to 48 hours if no one's near her. So
you're so very kind. No, that's not it either. Okay. All right. So
I can't have an NPC that I don't do chores for.
That's true. This one likes you though, so that's the difference. Mac is with the Srika. Sarla is fixing the windmill. Did anybody else have any lasting business? Eldrin's ready to go when you are. Remember that you actually have access to the crawler now, so you guys are going to zip through the hexes at this point.
Melka would definitely be like just following Ordo around, asking really kind of continuous questions about his life. And So when you live underground, how do you see?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Like how do you see in the dark?
We open our eyes.
But it's dark.
Right, but we can see in the dark.
Exactly. What? Really?
Yeah.
How?
With our eyes.
But how?
With our eyes.
But how?
Magic.
We open them. You see, right now they're closed.
Yes.
Now they're open.
Yes. But
when they're open,
if you don't have like a light source, you can't see definition.
Definition.
Like depth of field.
Field. There aren't fields. They're rocks.
Like you see how far away that rock is? If there's no light, how do you tell how far away it is?
With our eyes.
Well, but how?
We look at
it. Yes, but then in the dark you wouldn't.
No, we would.
But you wouldn't.
But I have.
And so it goes.
It's just this long circular conversation. Okay. All right.
I can see Melissa's desperation in the chat.
Sarah's busy doing something else. Someone, please.
Gurgle, any last things that you would like to do before you leave?
Just farewell to Varna. Brought your husband back in peace. We did poke at the spiders down below. Hopefully they don't come up hungry.
Oh, did you? I'm so. She comes over and she like grabs you, like she takes your hands and she like kind of pats you because you're wearing the bracers, her husband's bracers, right? I'm so glad to have met you. I know that if Rickard were alive, the two of you would be just wonderful friends. And then she kind of brings you in for a hug. And I do hope you find those fish folk friends of mine. They were so kind. Tell them I said hello.
We'll see what's going on in the lands. Hopefully they come back.
Thank you, Gurgle. And just kind of pats you on the back and steps away. And then Cecil, anything else?
Nothing too much. I know, like, initially for a brief spell, I had worn her husband's armor, but we kind of set up a little thing in the corner, like maybe take a second to make sure it's actually built nicely. She kind of has like a little
Like a shrine
something,
almost.
a little
Yeah.
shrine or a little effigy of
Yeah.
him, like over in the corner.
Absolutely.
Because I feel bad that
yeah.
she's going to kind of sit here alone. It'd be nice to have
Mhm.
something over there for her.
She looks at you and her eyes kind of open up, and you can see that they're a little bit moist from where she's applied whatever tonic you've given her.
I put together a few more packets of that one. It's going to be good for you for probably a few weeks now. But I tried to write down the general idea how to put together another pack for yourself.
I see. Well, you'll just have to come back to visit and make a new batch for me.
I suppose that is a good impulse to do that. That's fair.
Thank you, Cecil.
And she reaches up and just kind of like pats you on the cheek and then kind of squeezes it a little bit.
Now, you'll be careful out there.
That's hard to do with this group.
Well, you make sure everybody stays safe now.
Safe? I don't know, but I will keep them alive.
Oh, that's a good start.
And she gives you a hug. And then she goes around, she gives everyone hugs, thanks you for your help with the Srika, with the windmill, with Rickard in general. And then eventually you all climb into the crawler and we're off. Now, normally, on foot, you can move 2 hexes per day, or per quarter day, excuse me. But you guys are now riding high in a repaired iron crawler, which means you can travel 5 hexes per day. If you're on the hex screen on Foundry, you would know from Eldrin's conversation with the Grasskin, if you were going to follow up on that, they described a village hidden away in some clay hills near a kind of a small lake. And then your Glogo friend Ordo, you know that he was supposed to meet with the rest of his friends, his family, his group by a volcanic mountain, also toward that southwest. So I'm sort of pinging on our hexes, kind of where you would know you're going. So because of your speed, 2, 3, it looks like you can go to either with just in 1 quarter day. That's how good your driving is. So Cecil, like I said, we're going to put you with the sort of first player here. Do you have a preference, you think, to where you drive?
I think in his mind he would prefer to deal with the cracks, because that's the group that we think is in that little hidden village next to the lake, right?
You know that that's where the Grasskin village is. That they're hiding away.
Okay, my bad.
And you are going to basically help them somehow, and they might have more information, obviously, about the cracks.
Yeah. That's on the way to where our Glogo friend would be, so I don't feel like we're doing him too big a disservice, and I feel like they're probably the ones that have. Not that he's not important, but they're possibly going to have their friends and families murdered. So maybe we should go there first.
Oh, but okay, all right.
And we can make all sorts of Glogo. We can make all sorts of new best friends.
What?
New best friends. More new best friends.
But it's superlative. There can be only one.
No. Lots.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, this is called the quickening, because she gets your blood pressure running.
Okay. His eyes begin to glow even redder. Okay. So we travel southward into that muddy forest where your brief friend that you met, your hogfolk politician, Mart, I believe his name was, where he leapt and tried to find these tried to go through these ruined wagons, and Melka had to go save him. So we kind of and you know well enough to circumvent that mud patch, and you no longer even see the wagons. They have since descended fully into the ground. You kind of drive a little bit further westward over top of these clay hills, fewer and fewer trees on them the further you go west. You find yourself, and it's a relatively like muddy and moist area, as you can see, like to the north of you and to the south of you, water extends. You head westward a bit into a little bit more kind of swampy or muddy terrain, where you're able to see like this river from on high. Like you can tell you're sort of descending down from up where Varna was living, and you're kind of getting into the lower lands of this region. And you can see off in the distance, bending around a massive river. And then you find yourselves with Eldrin having received instructions and doing the driving. You eventually find yourselves driving into again more kind of clay hills. When you arrive, you look around for a bit. The exact whereabouts are unclear. There's no path that leads up to it. You can definitely tell that this village has taken steps to sort of obscure their homes. And eventually, you do find this stretch of ground that kind of, it almost looks like, if you squint, it can kind of look like a village. You see what looks like mounds of grass and mud that you think probably are homes, very much like hobbit holes if you think about it in those ways. It's barely distinguishable from the landscape. Every now and then you can see eyes suddenly peek out from like a hole or a window. You can see that there's these woven camouflage blankets that have been draped over top of certain areas as well, and the eyes kind of dart around. There's a dried up stream bed that kind of runs through the middle, and you can see the banks are reinforced with these woven grass barriers that, as you start to peek at them, you realize there's hiding in these barriers. There's grasskin, and they've got bows kind of drawn here and there, as it looks like watch posts. You guys are an iron crawler. You're making a lot of noise. You're not going to sneak up on them. And then kind of in what you think would be the center is in a large circular pattern. You can see these flattened grass and everything, and some layers of loose foliage. And it kind of looks like a gathering place, like it's been recently emptied. Like people have been here recently, but then fled maybe at the sound of you all coming. And you can hear, as the engine softens and settles, the sounds of whispers, like hushed whispers, and you can see some of those higher levels of grass here and there start to move a little bit more fervently as you realize it's not grass, but grasskin hiding within them. And you can see coming out from one of these posts, there are 3 grasskin, all of which are very, very short, very small. Even the smallest of you would be bigger. They're knee high at best, and they're various shades of green or aqua green, something like that. They're wearing what looks like these small pouches, and a couple of them look like guards. Those are the ones that are carrying these bows with them, and they have like shoulder pads and like a quiver in the back. And one steps up and is like,
"Hello there. Eldrin, is that you?"
And you see like Eldrin's climbing down and kind of waves and says,
"Everybody, this is my friend Fern. This is the one I was telling you all about. Fern, this is..."
And then he goes through and kind of introduce each one of you. And the whole time, Fern is like,
"Quiet, shh, quiet, not so loud."
And so it turns to you. So like Fern comes up and like kind of shakes each of your hands.
It's like, I heard you're going to help us. Is that true?
Oh yes, my new best friend.
Yeah.
We are going to help you.
Yeah. Would you like me to sing the song?
No,
Sing a song.
No. Need to be very quiet. We don't want them to know where our new village is. When they found our old village, they destroyed it. I don't want them to destroy the new village too.
Oh.
That's why
So
we're
maybe
very
we should
quiet.
go where they're at and make them stop.
That would be wonderful. We would very much appreciate that. We would very much.
And like it turns and like the two guards are like on their head, like,
Yes, we would appreciate that. Yes, that'd be wonderful. Yes, please. But you have to be very careful. They're very strong. They're very.
and then his eyes settle on Sarla. Oh, and you can see they all kind of get terrified, and one of them like fumbles with the bow as if like but in the doing so, like kind of gets caught up in the tangle of it and falls down to the ground, kind of tripping over themselves. You definitely can tell that they are not equipped for this. Like,
Oh, you brought one here. Why did you bring one here?
Oh, this is our friend, Sarla.
what?
friend.
Although I understand that some cracks have been doing awful things in these parts. Please rest assured that I have been traveling with my companions, trying to help out whoever we can, and have nothing to do with those.
You're
Uh-huh.
And then they kind of like huddle up, like, and they look up, and then they.
We see. So you don't know them, then? You don't know what they've done?
I have heard some stories that are quite distressing. I don't know the identities of who has done those things, so I don't know if I knew them at some time past, but I can promise you I have had nothing to do with the atrocities that have happened.
I mean, not all cracks know other cracks. Just like I imagine you don't know all the Grasskins.
No, we do. That's Thistley, that's Bram, that's Laurel.
And it just starts going through and naming all of them.
Outside of the village?
Oh. No. That's a good point. Yeah. No. Okay. So, you're not from their group, then?
No, I assure
Well,
you I
then-
am not.
Their group is done. There were friendly fish folk that aren't here. There was a second Grasskin village to the north. They've left completely. Our first village over in the swamps was destroyed. Even Stiltstown in the east have suffered, though they're bigger and stronger, and they just suffer from raids from time to time. For us, they just come by and destroy us completely.
That's absolutely awful. Do you have any idea what it is that their goal is? Are they trying to expand where they are, or why? Or are they just mean?
And they look at each other.
We never had an opportunity to talk to them. We tried to be peaceful. We offered them herbs. We offered them poultices. We've offered them tonics. Everything that we can find, and they took them. But then they came back for more, and we said we didn't have more. And then they took what we had for ourselves, and then they came back again, and when we couldn't give them any more, well, then they destroyed our homes, and they took some of us.
It sounds like they're just mean and spiteful and greedy, and we shall not stand for this, and we will try to help you. And she kind of looks around to everybody.
Right. So you're saying there's some of your people we need to keep an eye out for then?
You think they're still alive?
Why wouldn't they be?
Yes.
Well,
And they whisper again, and they.
we never thought that. We thought, we assumed that they were gone.
I mean, if they was going to do some bloody business, they would do that while they were there. But more than likely, maybe they have your friends trying to get them to make some new poultices back in their own home.
They all
So-
kind of look at each other because, like, they clearly didn't think of that.
Oh, that makes sense. Maybe. Yes, so if you find them, don't hurt them. I mean, hurt the cracks, don't hurt our friends.
I'm
We
glad you
understand.
clarified that for us. Thank you. I would have hated to have been confused on that point.
You are welcome.
Mm-hmm.
And
If we can help, we have goods. We have goods. If there's anything you need, we will help. We are not good fighters, but we are crafty. We have made we have potions. We have tonics. We have herbs. We have other things that we have scavenged. If we can help you, help us, then we will help you help us.
And you can see like he confuses himself with his rhetoric. But ultimately, they have things. So if you wanted to spend coins on anything, they have tons of stuff in here.
Yes.
So if you wanted to look at those types of things,
Heck yeah.
yeah. And while you're doing that, thank you, Epic Fumbles, for the raid. Thank you very much.
Welcome, Raiders.
So basically, if there's anything that you would have wanted to purchase, they would have a limited supply. Anything that kind of is naturalistic. So think of those in terms of like they're scavengers, they're herbalists, things like that. Anything that you think might fall into that kind of realm, they would be willing to sell to you at a very significant discount.
I am going to grab an elixir of healing for 3 coins.
Go right ahead.
Cool.
This jar of
Yeah.
fog looks pretty good. Do you have any of that?
Yes. Oh, but yes, I think so. Laurel.
And you see, like, you look over and there's a relatively heavy set looking Graskin who just sort of comes on over. They have a big old, like, woven, like, wicker basket. And they start pulling out some things here and there. And it's like,
No, that's not it. No, clink, clink. No, that's not. Oh, yes, here it is. Oh.
and then they like uncork it for a second just to double check. And you can see they nearly vomit just from the smell, cork it back up and hand it over to you. But yeah, you can take a jar, Bob. Anything else?
Let's see where there's a list of things.
Do they have-
Page like
page
53-ish.
53.
Yeah, it's most of the consumables. Pretty much any consumable that isn't like a hexite crystal they wouldn't have, bottle demon they probably wouldn't have, but like glow moss or like cider or spine
Yeah, that's
fruit,
what I was going to ask about.
that kind of stuff they would have. Cider,
I would like 2 cider, please.
they come on over and they're like Bramble, and so Bramble comes over and they're like dragging behind this big old like reed sack filled with all these containers that they've pieced together, these kind of patched leaf containers. They pull out one after the other, and and then you can get some cider.
I will take 2 elixirs of healing, if that is
Okay.
all right.
Absolutely, yeah. They are more than happy to equip you all with what you need. And then so like Laurel,
Yeah. Oh, I'm running low, but yes, take, please, if it would help. Yes.
hands it over.
I don't have something in front of me to be able to look at stuff, but I have 21 coins. I'm glad to donate towards buying whatever the group wants.
Okay.
Do you want something to help restore attribute points or
Yes.
I guess more cider? Because
Cider would be good.
cider gives you 5 attribute points and removes hopeless. So
Okay,
if
that
you-
sounds
Tell you what.
delightful. And then if there's
Yeah.
anything
You
that could
spend
put
attribute
people to
points.
sleep. Because Cecil's first thought is like, do they have anything that we could put into their food to make them fall asleep?
I'll say they have a total of 5 cider that they're willing to sell you, that they can afford to sell you at this point. So you can take that.
you can take 3 if you want. Cecil, unless other
Sleepy
people want.
potions, huh?
I don't know if that would be.
Can I buy one of those cider?
Go for it.
It's probably good if it's spread out amongst folks. So if,
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought 2, so somebody can have one.
okay.
Okay.
So
I'm
I guess
looking
we
for
can each have one,
consumables.
'cause
I'm not
that's
saying
how math
anything
works.
that puts people to
Back to us.
sleep, unfortunately.
Yeah.
If someone else sees it, let me know. I don't see one.
I'm not worried about it. Oh, I
closest thing is
see
like a
something was
poison
posted in
fruit.
chat now.
There's a spine fruit that does 1d4 splash poison damage. They would have that. Yes, for sure they would have that.
Okay, perfect. I would love to maybe get some of that and start working it down while we're traveling to see if it's something I could sneak into a food source.
They would be
That's
able
how
to
my
sell
brain
you
works.
4 pieces of spine fruit, basically, which is
Perfect.
8 coins.
Okay, I'm glad to spend it.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Because that's what
Anything
heroes do.
else?
They poison their enemies.
And Sarla's paying full price because she feels like she's got to pay the crack tax for
Mhm.
this here.
To crack stacks. Okay.
Nice.
Anything else you guys want? They would have some basic tools and such too. If there's any tools you wanted, like shovels or ropes or anything like that. But otherwise, it's mostly consumables that would probably be useful to you. Okay. So if that's the case, we will say you arrived here basically midday. You stayed around probably for an hour or so buying. It's just a question: if you talk to them, what Fern would tell you is that they would explain
To the west, our first village was in a swamp south of the river, and the cracks came and they moved into their own and made their own settlement just north of us in the shadow of a mountain. And we thought at first it would be okay because they were big and they were strong and they could maybe protect us and we could give them what we can do, trinkets and potions and things. But then they grew territorial and they didn't want us there anymore. And then they scared us away and then they took some of us and then anyhow.
But he brings all of you to the edge of this hill, and you can see out below as you're sort of up on kind of an elevated area. And during the day, clear as day, no rain, no snow, no clouds or anything like that. And you can see far below you, the land just extends, and you see this big river bend. And he points that. So for you all, that you can see, there's 2 hexes to the west. There is a swamp hex. That's where their village used to be. And they said that the cracks, they basically took over a segment of the swamp where the river ran through. And so they would kind of point to you in that direction towards where the river bends around the big mountain and the hills. And just in the shadow of it, you'll find the stronghold of these cracks.
Pay them a visit.
Let's go. Give him a tongue lashing.
We should make sure Ordo gets to his people and then go give them a tongue lashing. Yes.
Right.
Of course, his friends are waiting.
Yes.
Okay. So you guys want to do that first? You want to swing south first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said that they did have some weapons there. Sorry, I was just having a chance to look
Some
through.
basic
Did they maybe
stuff.
just have a basic bow or even just a sling, something like
They
that?
they definitely have bows and slings. That's not an issue
Okay.
at all. You definitely could get those. Yep.
Probably
that's
not a
problem.
bad idea to have at least a ranged weapon on hand.
For sure.
All right.
Okay.
Get that in there.
All right. So Fern tells you everything he knows about them. That they live in. That they kind of took. They took a lot of the swamp trees. The swamps used to have these large mangroves, and they still have some, but they kind of took them down and they built they built platforms and homes and such out of them, and a stronghold and whatnot. And he tells you that there were at least a dozen in number, very strong, and they were never alone. They would always be in groups. They would always wander about, and that they would patrol their swamps in these flat bottom boats, and that would move quickly and avoid a lot of the muck and the trouble, and also would warn you that the swamp itself was tricky, because there are all sorts of these spots where the earth, or I would say the bog itself would swallow you, and so would kind of would warn you to tread carefully and to be careful, because the bog itself could swallow you up.
We tried to teach them, and we told them how to avoid them, but that wasn't good enough.
And they do their best to explain to you what the telltale signs might be of such moments, but without seeing it firsthand and then being able to point it at you. What I'm going to say is that you'll get a free +1 on any attempts to for perception to find these things. So whoever rolls that. Okay.
And Sarla's been paying close attention because I did get sailing at one point. So like water navigation and boats and stuff is something that she's decent at. So
Nice.
Okay, fantastic. All right, then. So then we'll say you leave, you get your supplies. They bid you good luck. You can tell that Fern is very anxious. Some in the community come out and wave. Others, like you can see them whispering, and like you can tell that they're less certain that you're going to return or that you're going to succeed. They all seem very frightened. It's less about like judging you and more about just like the experiences that they've had. And then you head southwest, and it's not far from this Graskin village that these kind of clay hills, the ground turns a little bit more jagged, a little bit more tough. At a few points, you have to kind of like get out and push the iron crawler carefully, or to kind of move it around a bit as there isn't again a clear path. You start to see these streams of like hardened lava that are forming into these black ridges. So you can tell like recent small eruptions. The scent up here is quite is sulfurous. So you can tell like there's an odor, steam coming up from different fissures. There's this yellow haze that just seems to permeate the entire area. And every now and then when you're traveling, there's these bursts of heat that kind of ripple up through the air. And you can see in the rocks themselves, there are these faint glowing pulses, like these spider webbings almost of cracks, not actual spider webs, but it just has that look to it. There's all sorts of beautiful glassy volcanic rock here and there as well that's mixed with more ashen soil, and there's definitely like a low rumbling as you travel. Let's turn this over. Who do we want? We'll say Sarla. Also, just rotate it onto you. Sarla, you come up onto the slopes of this volcano to the pretty much the highest point that the crawler can go. And there's all sorts of slopes. There's fissures, there's cave openings, there's vent openings and whatnot. How would you go about trying to sort of locate where Glogo's friends might be or might have gone? What would you do?
I would say that I am the worst person for this, but
So I picked you.
She would basically, sort of like how when we were coming upon these Graskin, and we could see sort of the area that the grass had all been compacted because someone had been there recently and then now had left, looking for tracks or drag marks or those kinds of things. So she is going to turn to the group, and whoever has more than a 1 perception is who she is going to. We should
Delegate.
look around and look at the ground, right?
Delegate to somebody. Okay.
Yeah, I've never tracked a Glogo. Hey, Ordo, can you walk around in a circle real quick?
What? Okay.
And they start waddling around.
Like this?
And I'll perceive his tracks, try to match it.
Okay, give me a
Such a good
perception
idea.
test. He just keeps going right in circles.
Can I stop now?
This guy's he's had an experience.
Yeah.
How much are you spending in perception?
Got a 2.
Okay. All right. How'd you do?
Got a 12.
Damn.
Oh, nailed it. Okay, so you find that
Wow.
super easy. You notice as he starts waddling around that he, like his feet, like they're not claws per se, but you can tell that they scrape some of the earth at certain points. Like he kind of leaves behind these faint scrapings, and you start looking around for these small little rubbings, and eventually you find them. You find these marks. And as you follow them around, you start to notice that it's not just like one isolated set of tracks the way Ordo is leaving these, but instead groups of them. So it becomes even easier for you to notice. And then eventually this leads you to this crevice that's hidden behind what looks like a series of boulders. It's a very kind of crafty hiding place. And as you veer around it, Gurgle, and you look into this dark, recessed section within the slope of this volcano, you start to see these red, somewhat reflective, glassy eyes kind of start to open up somewhere in the darkness. You can't actually see the bodies that are associated with them, but each one of them is just opening up and looking at you. And there's probably a half dozen or so of these sets of eyes, and they're not charging at you. They're not saying anything, but you can see their eyes. What do you do next, Gurgle?
Ordo, I think your friends are here.
Ordo. And then you see Ordo comes rushing over, and like the eyes in the darkness begin to get bigger, and you see Gurgle as the group slowly starts to come out from their recessed hiding spot, and you start to see shapes. You see that they're carrying weapons. They have like picks. Some of them have knives. Some of them just have like a rock in their hand, like ready to hit. And then there's like this moment of like Ordo's like, "Oh, mama!" and just kind of waddles over and like throws his arms around one of these others, and they just start hugging. And then the whole group comes around and just starts patting them on the back. Like it becomes like this big huddle, like a sports huddle, as they're very excited. And Ordo's just like, I've seen so many things. How do we? And then, Mama, how do we look in dark? And then she's like, with our eyes. And he's like, but how? And he said, by opening them. And then they start going back and forth over and over again.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
broke them.
And so he turns around and he introduces like you all to like his friends, his family, etc. Gives you all of these names, like these friends. They help me. They surface.
Yeah, we're all best friends.
And all of them are like superlative. One.
No, we're all best
In
friends.
unison.
You can be
No.
our best friends too.
No, we can be friends, not best. We can't all be friends.
Sarla's
Only one of us can be
standing
friends.
behind Melka, like it's not. We're all
Best friends.
All
Okay.
friends.
Best friends.
So there's
It's
this.
an ancient surface people technique where you just nod your head and smile and move along with things.
And then you can see like a few of them just start going, and they just start doing it too. Ordo will come out and they all look very similar, but you can tell now that like your eyes are adjusting, like there's small variations in like their complexion. There's small variations in like the rock itself. It's like rocky scales, if you want to think about it in those terms. And so like all of them look, you can tell that you can see some sort of similarities almost in terms of how they look. But they come up, and the one that he keeps referring to as Mama will come up to you, Gurgle, since you were the first one that they saw, and will hand over to you like this. She'll just fumble something, and you can tell it's like a piece of coal, and she's hand.
I raise it up for a high five.
What? No. And she reaches up, she grabs it, turns it around, and then puts into your hand like this chunk of like coal or just like just black rock. And then she kind of just smooshes it around until it starts to fall and break apart. And you can see that there's a beautiful little ring inside. For bringing Ordo back.
Oh, it's
Thank
marvelous.
you. And gives it to you, and then turns around and like, we go. And they wave goodbye. And you see them as a group now disappear further and deeper into the cave. Gurgle, you get a Ring of the Fox, which is +2 max cunning. It's a jewelry slot item. Obviously, you don't have to keep it. You can give it to whoever, but that's the reward.
That's pretty cool.
Anybody need cunning?
I'm an idiot, and I'm comfortably an idiot, so I don't think I need it.
Agreed. I have 0 cunning, and I think it's just fine that way.
Okay.
I
All right.
use cunning, but it's okay if you need some cunning.
I have 0, so I'll go ahead and wear it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. So, the day is getting a little bit later. You can see the sun's coming down in the west. Do we venture down to the swamp at this point?
Always travel in the swamp at night.
That's how I've always had fun growing
Yep.
up in Florida. Okay. All right. So you work your way back down the slopes. It's easier going down than it was going up. And you travel across kind of a more sturdy kind of a floodplain, and then eventually you start to get into like this marshier ground. And at a certain point, you can tell that Eldrin is a little nervous because the water level gets higher and higher. It's starting to threaten some of the tracks of the crawler. And he, at a certain point, was just like, maybe we should kind of proceed on foot, or you should proceed on foot. Or like, it's like,
I'll stay back here with it just to make sure it's okay. If you all want to go ahead.
Oh,
You're the big heroes.
That's real smart.
yeah, really
Oh,
smart.
thank you, Mac. Thank you very much. Oh, I thought it was a pretty crafty idea myself.
If you weren't here to guard it, they might steal it, and that would just be awful.
I was just saying that. I was just saying that exact... Gurgle, wasn't I saying that? I was saying that exact thing. If I weren't here, they'd take it.
You were just saying it. In the travel
See?
here, I'd like to create some camouflages for a couple of us.
okay,
That's one of my abilities.
Ooh,
absolutely.
One craft and one supply to make camouflage for stealth-related challenges.
That is
awesome.
phenomenal. Is there a role that comes with it, or do you just get to do it?
I should get to do it as long as I spend the craft and supply.
Okay. Spend one quaff and one
Nice.
supply to make camouflage for yourself. Okay. Wearing it takes up a miscellaneous slot, so it's an item, so it's an actual item. Gives +4 to hiding and stealth-related challenges while in the same environment. And the camouflage lasts up to 1 day. So while you're in the swamp, whoever you give this to. So who do you want to give this to?
Yeah, so I can make 3, so whoever has open miscellaneous slots.
Ooh,
Let's take a look.
I'm pretty sure I do.
I do.
Okay.
My miscellaneous slot is open, but
Yeah, I think.
I defer.
Yeah.
All right,
I
I'll
have
give it to
goggles in my miscellaneous slot, so
myself, Milka, and Cecil, since Mac is sort of swamp-like for being a toad. I think
Okay.
it's Linda.
that's right.
All right. Makes sense. Plus, he's the
Um,
biggest, toughest son of a bitch in the group, so he's probably okay.
That's true too.
All right.
I'll
Go ahead, Sarla.
probably try to make some like makeshift armor or clothing for folks if
Okay.
that's possible.
If you want to make makeshift, that's fine. Just remember that what makeshift means is that once it's depleted, it's gone. It doesn't replenish after a fight or after it's lost. Okay.
I'm good with that.
All right, go ahead. I think you have to roll for that, though. That is a craft check for you, and you have to commit the supplies. So it's 2,
Yeah,
I
and I've got
believe,
plenty of
for
supplies.
armor.
It's 2
Yeah, it's
supplies, yeah.
2 for
weapons and
armor. Okay. So yeah. Yeah, go ahead and rip those rolls and give them out to whoever needs to give them. You need to give them out to.
Okay, yeah, and if it's okay, kind of while we continue, I'll message folks kind of what I made, and then I'll let you know the rolls.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So by the time you get your camouflage together, by the time Sarla kind of pieces together this crafting stuff, by the time you kind of get out of the crawler, make sure the crawler's not going to sink into the swamp. We'll say the sun is almost fully gone down and is actually quite dark in this swamp now. It is nonetheless very warm, very humid, and you can see that there are these pockets of like swamp gas that just, you can see like bubbles come up and just pop, and these little kind of flickers of some kind of almost glowing light in some ways begin to drift up. There are these gnarly looking mangrove trees, that tangle around here and there. They're not super, it's not like a super thick forest, but they're definitely popping up, every 50 to 100 feet or so. They kind of come up out of the ground like some gnarled hand, and sometimes drift down and then up and then down and then up. There's patches of islands and mud, and you can see many times there are these like snakes and other critters that are kind of slithering about here and there. It's very earthy aroma, a lot of decay, a lot of foulness as you start to move through it. There's patches of these tall reeds that, as you start kind of sifting through the mud, you can hear them just kind of like snap against one another. It almost sounds like heavy footfalls. And look around behind you really quick, but they wouldn't be making those sounds anyway. So I'm going to turn the lead over to Mac at this point. So Mac, describe for me what you think the party would be doing as it sort of ventures into this swamp looking for the cracks. Like, is there some sort of strategy or some sort of plan that you think that's going to be doing?
Well, I think that Gurgle is probably going to have to lead us through, because he is the most cunning and stealthy of everyone. And the rest of us, as he's finding the right path, should maybe tie off to one another in case somebody goes into the bog. We can pull them out so they don't just die.
I think you're right, Mac. This ring makes me feel smart.
And then I should probably bring up the rear in case somebody comes up from behind us, and I'm also the loudest, probably.
Okay. All right. So as you start to tie yourselves together with various rope that I'm sure you have, if not, you can spend supply to essentially make a tool. But you start to tie yourselves together, and you start to move through the muck. Presumably, I'm going to say everyone can make either a reflexes test or a cunning test. So it's up to you. So a cunning is like if you're just using the knowledge that you're given from Fern to like look out for problems. If that's the case, you get a free +1. But if reflex is still better for you and you just want to rely on your pure physical ability, that's fine as well. But you don't get the +1 for that one.
I'm going to do cunning, take my free +1 and spend a +1.
Okay.
Do the same, use my newfound cunning.
Oh,
I am
boy.
also going to do the same thing.
Ditto.
Reflexes. I'm going reflexes. I rolled a 9, thankfully, and I had
There you
spent
go.
2 reflexes, so I got an 11.
Excellent.
Another 12 for me.
Look at you rolling rocks
Holy.
over here.
My.
Rolled
got
a
a-
7 for 9.
9. Okay.
7 for 9.
Same.
And Jeremy rolled the same thing too. Okay, so all of you make it through with no damage. You manage to avoid every now and then, like you take a step, or one of you sees like a small little bubbling, and you realize at the last second that that's what Fern told you to look for. Or you see a little discoloration in the water or the mud, and you realize don't walk over that path. Now, nonetheless, you are all going to go ahead and lose 1 supply. Just from crossing the swamp, but none of you are harmed. Like none of you step on anything strange or have a snake bite you or get caught in any of the various perils of the swamp itself. But nonetheless, like some of your equipment and things kind of gets caught up and ruined here or there, or you notice too late that there was like a small hole in one of your pouches, and a few things have kind of fallen out. But otherwise, you've been able to traverse this ground in the dark with relative ease. And that's when you finally see something that isn't just swamp. You look in the distance and you start to see lanterns, and you realize you've reached this section of the swamp that you would imagine is the Crack's stronghold. You can see a series of raised wooden platforms mixed and scattered about the swamp, almost on stilts themselves. There's still some like mangrove bushes and things that are propped out. There looks to be like a fortified cluster of like huts and barricades and watchtowers, all kind of like centralized. There is there's like kind of a wall that's been set up. It's a makeshift wall. It's not perfect. It's not without, it's not without like small little patches missing here and there, but it's not just like a free walk into their homes. And you do see that there are some towers, like I said, where there's a handful, or it looks like a pair, I should say, of cracks up in these watchtowers, just looking out into the swamp here or there. And they're like, one of them is on sort of one side of this barricaded grounds, and one of them's on the other side. But you can see them because they appear to have like lanterns up with them. And that's what you see just when you first arrive without any other effort. And currently it seems as though you have not yet been discovered, but I'm treating this as you're observing this from at least 100 yards away. So, what do we like to do? We like to sneak up? We like to draw them out? What's the idea here?
Let's go survey the area. This is the encampment.
So I have 2 sticky oil that's flammable.
I love this idea.
Yeah.
We burn the 2 towers down.
Yeah.
2 people sneak up and burn the towers down. Then they come running out. We chop them down.
I'll be the one to sneak.
Okay.
Okay.
So there are 2
I
towers.
can't believe everybody agreed to
Me
that.
too.
It makes perfect sense. I think the plan makes a lot of sense. Okay, so who are the 2 people? So one of them is going to be Gurgle. Who's the second person who's going to sneak up underneath the tower and then throw a Molotov, more or less, a sticky bomb? Who's going to do it? Who's the other one?
What's
I
the
gotta-
sneak
I could.
gonna
Well,
be?
I've got 5 reflexes. I mean, I've
Ooh.
got some reflexes to spend
Okay.
if needed.
Or the ghillie suit gives you a big bonus, though, right?
I'm not wearing
Yeah, it's a
the
plus
ghillie suit.
4
Do you
to-
ours? Oh, maybe.
Yeah,
you
so I would have a free
Oh.
+4.
Oh yeah,
Then I
for
should,
sure.
yeah.
Or you. Yeah, one of us
Yeah.
that has that on. It seems like we're. Well, it depends. Do you want to go in? I mean, you were so excited to throw the fire. I don't want to take that away from you. It's your
Oh,
idea. It's a
oh,
brilliant
yeah.
idea.
Is it? Great. Okay. Yeah, I'll commit to my
And
own
that's how I
idea.
kept myself from getting killed today.
Yeah,
By
it
being
is.
very respectful of other people's ideas.
Okay, yeah. I'm happy to go up there and sneak in and make sure to light it on fire.
So that's the other part. The oil is just the oil. You also have to light it on fire. Okay. So it's Melka and Gurgle that are doing the sneaky. Is that the idea? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
So again, the towers are kind of on opposite sides of this encampment. One's we'll say one's in the south. We'll say one's in the north, just for ease. South, you is the direction you all approached from. So you're probably your reinforcements are closer to the south. So who's going to the south tower? Who's going to the north tower?
I'll
You
loop
said
around
the
to
south has more reinforcements?
You're closer. Like the rest of the party is closer to the south tower.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
You guys approached from the south. Is what I'm saying.
Mm.
I'll light the northern beacon tower, and then when you see it, light yours.
The beacons are lit. The beacons of Minas Tirith are lit. Condor calls for aid.
Are you sure? I'm happy to agree with you, but I can fly away.
Roy will answer.
Well, if you could fly and make it back in time.
Yeah. I was going to take the more dangerous one, but I'm happy to agree with your plan because I'm a very agreeable person.
Your insight has changed my mind. You can go to the north.
I agree with this plan too.
Okay, so I want some stealth tests from the 2 of you to approach.
Okay.
You are trying to get fairly close. They are watchtowers. They can look down. These are going to be difficulty 10s, but you should have some bonuses from what Gurgle is able to provide. I think if you're both wearing those camouflages, so you should have some bonuses. So don't forget those. So yeah, give me those rolls.
So long you said it's a +4 for the camouflage?
Yes.
Okay. I'll throw a reflex in there as well and make it a 5. Which dice?
Most important question.
+6.
+6. Okay. You can't possibly fail.
13.
Okay.
Nice.
Very nice. Very nice.
Nice.
5 for 10?
10. Perfect. So both of you pass.
Ooh.
Okay. So as both of you in your various directions, so Gurgle from the south, Melka goes to the north. Melka, one of the things you do notice as you're coming up to the north side and you're sneaking around and you're getting in place, you're getting the oil, you're hiding beneath the branches of the mangrove, you're ducking down in the water when necessary. It's very like Apocalypse Now kind of moment going on from time to time. You do notice that there is a flat bottom boat that appears to be approaching from the north, and like you can see like a staff pole sticking out of it with a lantern kind of hanging, and like you can see that there's a boat returning, and as it gets closer, it doesn't see you, but you can see that there are 2 cracks that are in it, and you can see that they're just with these big sticks just pushing the boat along, and they just go right past you, none the wiser. Gurgle and the rest of the party, you see it shortly afterwards as it kind of skirts around. And when it gets right in front of the actual barricades and such, you can see they pull it up onto the ground where there's these patches of mud, like little mini islands, and you hear them call out, "Open the gates!" And then moments later, you see these gates open up, and they start dragging the boat inside, and they close it back up. Melka, Gurgle, you throw the oil, and then you're going to go up and you're going to light a torch, right?
Mhm.
Or are you going to try to throw a torch as well? What do you want to do?
Right up next to it.
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm gonna get next to it and I'll do the little dumping it around and then light it.
Okay, so you get right up next to it, really quiet. You even hear them talking.
They better brought us some food. Real hungry. So hungry that them fish folk are looking real delicious now.
And like you see they're pouring out, like you're still pouring this out, and then eventually you just get the torch, and like a small little flame, and it suddenly starts to grow and grow and grow because there's oil all over the place. Do you two run away at that point?
Yeah, retreat when it's lit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You run back, and within moments, those of you who are looking at the camp from a distance, like the rest of the party, you can see they get brighter and brighter and brighter until you see like the whole towers themselves and part of the wall begin to be aglow, and you hear the sounds of shouting like, "Fire! We've got fire here!" And the gates open back up, and you can see crews are coming out, and they've got like these big old buckets, and some of them are racing around to the other side, and they're like trying to like take up water from the swamp and throw it onto some of the, and kind of creating a chain. And they're all kind of spread out here. You can see there's a group of them by the front gate. You can see there's a group of them that kind of went around, and they're all trying to douse these flames as best they can. So what's step 2?
So Sarla has an idea for step 2.
Oh,
Oh.
go for it,
That's okay.
Sarla. Absolutely.
So we had gotten some iron spikes last episode. So I'm thinking if people are okay with this, I'm not entirely sure how many we got, but trying to sort of set them up as sort of a like, they're coming this way, we are behind where the spikes are. So either they might like run into the spikes or have to like run around the spikes.
Or if put it in the flow, like if they've got to get to the water to try and put out the fire, make them go through the spikes to get to the water.
Yes, yes.
Um,
That is what I would like to try to do.
Also, there's fish folk in there too that we need to rescue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like we take this here good distraction, and while
was-
they're going crazy.
Mac was thinking run inside the compound and shut the
Mhm.
gates.
That would
Kill
cut them
everybody in
half.
the compound, and then kill the ones on the outside from the walls after they put the fire out.
Got some great
So
ideas
Sarah's
here.
like unloading the iron spikes and then sees that you want to run and just sort of picks up the iron spikes and is like, or I'll just throw them later.
I don't know. I'm just super excited to go do something.
Everyone behind Mac.
You running in?
Mac, I got my
Everyone-
short sword.
Everyone give me a reflexes test as you try to race in through the gates and close them before any of those in the chain of folks trying to put the fire out here on this opening of this front tower. Everyone give me a reflexes save. Failure means you don't make it. So keep that in mind.
Husband too.
Sarla is too busy with all of these iron spikes. I rolled a 2, even spending a reflex.
So
Do
because
you
nobody
use-
claimed it, I put in my inventory. Do you mind if I use the casket of speed instead of rolling?
Casket of speed. What?
The
I'm sorry. What was that do again?
speed cider, which allows move twice this turn, even after combat action. So it's like a more movement.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead. That's fine.
Thanks.
Yeah, you can consider.
I rolled a 6.
7.
Okay. So it's a
I got
natural
an 8 in
6.
total with
Natural
the 2
6. Of
reflexes
course I
spent.
did.
Oh, of course you
Oh,
did,
goodness.
Jeremy.
Uh-oh.
It's what I
You
do.
didn't take lucky? You didn't take lucky.
No.
Okay.
That would have been less fun to take lucky. So
No, it's okay.
Okay.
good on you.
I'll just stay at the
Oh.
gates. You guys go do
I
the
failed
thing.
too.
Okay.
I failed too.
Yeah.
Did you really? Do you want to use your memory knot to try
Memory
to yeah.
Go for it.
I should use
You
my.
should.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna leave you.
You
out here
should.
by
You should
yourself.
do it. I am all for this. I'm going to eat that
Well,
6.
like a
and love
natural
it.
6 is just an extra consequence. It's not
Yeah.
like an automatic fail or anything.
It's not a fail. It's just yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh, okay.
Cecil, what is your personal weakness? Because that's what happens. Your personal weakness flares. So what do you think that would be for Cecil?
God, he's bitter and troubled. I think he's actually like deep down a very angry person.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just almost wants to go attack these people. Like he tries to help people, but for the most part, he's actually really angry about people that would behave this way. And it's almost too hard not to just engage with them.
Okay. So
Like there's maybe one who comes by close.
yeah. So maybe it's you're all running. Melka with the speed cider is like just darting out fast. Gurgle, I think you said you passed, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Mac, you passed. Okay. And then Sarla used her memory knot. What's the memory that
I
we
did.
see that kind of gets you running really fast?
I would say that she initially was kind of looking ahead and kind of trying to kind of balance things. And then she
Mhm.
remembers a time when she was being chased by this like lake creature, basically. And she remembered that it's just drop the stuff and just run. Like that's the important lesson. So I think she was kind of trying to like, don't want to drop the spikes, and I'm running, and then seeing like how fast Melka is and how fast everyone was going ahead. She like drops all but one, and then just like, given that she's not kind of as encumbered, then she's just running in.
Okay. All right. So as the 4 of you make it in, Cecil, maybe you linger past because maybe you're probably the biggest. You're human, so you might be the easiest to see. The cracks suddenly, a couple of them like, hey, intruders, hey, and they turn around like, get that filthy pigskin human, and they say something like that, just maybe triggers that anger, right? And like maybe that's what kind of causes you to stop.
You know, that's okay, because I was really wanting to spend some time with you. I heard so much about you. I've been waiting to meet you, and I just can't delay it any longer. So let's do this right now.
The 4 of you inside, like thinking everyone's together, close the gates really fast. You look around. You can see there's a couple huts here and there, but you can also see like the flaming fire on the tower on the other side. But there are cracks you can see right off the bat. And not only that, but you...
Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say not only that, but you can see that there are like fish folk and there are other stuff that are like moving about, kind of serving them like here and there. Many of them are like bound, and you can see that there's a few cages where a couple fish folk and grasskin have been placed. Some of them are hanging, some of them are just kind of bobbing up and down in this small little like circular dark pool in the middle of it. So I'm gonna bring us over to combat field. There's going to be 3 total outside the gates near Cecil that are putting out the tower fire, and there's going to be 4 inside the gates that will notice the 4 of you coming in and closing the gates, and like, hey, get away from there, as you all are closing it up, and that's where we're at.
While that initial exchange is happening, can he just lock eyes with him and just pull out the spine fruit and just draw his daggers through the spine fruit and smile at him?
Absolutely. Yeah, go right ahead. That's totally fine. Okay, so we're in combat then. So you're gonna go first, which is totally fine. Just to remember, on your turn, and all of you go, then all of my people go. And then back and forth we go. On your turn, you get 1 movement, 1 combat action, and 1 minor action. Remember that movement has to come before a combat action unless you have something special. By default, it has to be that. So once you attack, you wouldn't be able to move. Okay. And also remember groups, right? So right now at the start of combat, everyone's kind of in a separate group. If you're trying to do a range attack, you can basically range attack anyone unless I've sort of in the description of the scene made them somehow not visible. Otherwise, you can attack any group. If you want to melee, you have to move to their group. And remember that if you're in the same group with allies, you could potentially tank some of the damage for an ally who's taking damage. Okay. Okay. Who wants to go
Okay.
first?
I do.
Okay. All right,
I
Cecil.
want to move to the three of them.
They're
my
not all in the
movement.
same group, but okay. But we'll say we'll move.
I'll
you
move
up
to
into-
whichever one is closest.
Yeah, for sure.
And then for my minor
tasty.
action, I'll toss some spice in his eyes, and then I'll stab him.
Okay. All right.
So the spice does it reduces his power by d6.
Roll your d6.
So I'll reduce his
Nice.
power by 6 to just charge
There
in,
you go.
throw the cayenne pepper right in his eyes, and then just start cutting him right as he brings his hands up.
It burns. Why does it burn?
And that
Great
reduces his
roll.
power to 0. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
And then it'll be so 2. I'll do slice and dice. So do 2 separate knife attacks. I'll just roll it all at once though.
And remember that there's no roll to hit. It's just pure damage.
Yeah.
We always
So
do.
d4 plus 2, d4 plus 2. So I'll just roll 2d4 plus 4.
Okay. All right.
So I'll come in and stab him for 7. And then if it's running it through the spine fruit does anything, I don't know. That was mostly just for flavor.
Okay. So, all right. So you come in and you start stabbing away. You do 7 points of damage. His eyes are burning. He doesn't have much power. He's going to you're going to trigger his special, which is counterattack. Anytime he's
Excellent.
attacked in melee, he's going to deal 1d6. But I'm going to say because you burned him in his eyes, we're going to cut that in half. So I'm going to say it's only going to be a d3 back at you as opposed
Okay.
to a d6.
Nice.
So 1 point of damage. You take 1 point as he's like still struggling. He's off balance. His eyes are burning, and he tries to slash back out at you. And he does nick you, but it's not. It's nothing too
Oh,
terrible.
come on. I thought you were a big old crocodile, man. Is this
I am
guy?
a big crocodile.
Okay.
Stop crying there and do something then.
And then you've got this. You said you used the spine fruit, huh? Give me an extra
Yeah.
d4.
Okay.
Ooh.
'Cause I'm a
Nice.
jerk. When they're bigger than you, don't fight fair.
That's a fact.
That is true.
For an extra 4.
You have almost
Wow.
taken him
Hell
out
out of him.
entirely, and he's like, ah! Oh, it burns! And he's like grabbing his eyes, but now he's grabbing like his wounds, like
Everything's burning. Why is everything burning?
and he's screaming out. Okay. Do you have anything else to do?
I'll just wave over at his friends.
Okay. Inside the this little encampment, who would like to go? There's 4 of them, all within relative range of each other. Some of them are by the gate, like they're charging at you because of like you're at the gate mechanism. Others are like over by where you can see there's like cages and or just some other like meeting area. And so there's like 4 that are in your vision, and you can race at any one of them. Who would like to go first?
Milka, having the storm sword drawn, would
Yeah.
kind of go, stay away from my best friends! Running past Mac and Sarla. She'll go and join the group for this one up in
Okay.
the sort of northeast-ish area.
Yeah. So you charge in at one of the ones that was like maybe by some of the fish folk that are bobbing up and down inside of like a cage that's in the muck. Okay.
This is the final countdown! She'll sing as she attacks.
Yes. Yes.
Final countdown!
Roll your
As
attack.
she activates the storm sword, and I'm gonna pump, I think only 2 knowledge in it this time for
Okay.
a D8 of damage. We'll use this dice. Oh my god, that's a 1 plus 2 for 3.
Only 3
Oh.
points. That's 9 points of
Ouch.
damage at you as you charge in, swinging and triggering their counterattack ability. And he has all his power, unlike the one that.
I'm then going to use my minor action to do taunt, which is the new ability that I picked up. He slept with your mom! Which then I will spend 1 of my cunning to remove 2 of their power.
Okay. Okay. I think that wouldn't normally happen. I don't think it would interrupt his counterattack, but you could have done that before.
Yeah,
Before
okay,
you
so-
attack. Yeah, no.
Fair
It's
enough.
totally fine. It's totally fine. Okay, so that means it's going to be 1d6 plus 3 that he's coming at you with.
Ouch.
So that's going to be total of 5 points of damage, Melka, as I only rolled
Oh,
2.
there goes all my armor.
So slashes through. It's just like,
Final countdown for you. Ha!
and okay. Melka is done. Mac or Gurgle or
Mac-
Sarla?
Max, seeing Melka get hit, charges at the same one that she's at, screaming,
Okay.
"Best friend!"
Okay.
And he swings his great sword. Before he swings his great sword, he comes in and his tongue flicks out and smacks it in the face.
Nice. That's power, right?
Yep, for 3 points of power damage.
That'll reduce him to 0 for now.
And
Okay.
then he swings this great sword. I'll spend 2 points of strength to up it, so that's going to be plus 6 damage.
Okay.
I need to find it. Okay, that's 7 on the die,
Ooh.
so that's 13 points of damage.
Describe how you take him out, Mac, because that is enough.
Nice.
So Mac just comes straight in and skewers him, puts his left hand on his shoulder, and just pulls the great sword up, and the two halves of his body just fall on either side. You okay, best friend? He
Flops to the
feels so
ground.
bad on the inside. So
It does. Yeah. But it was the armor that Sarla made.
she's so good.
Yeah.
Okay. Sarla or Gurgle. I think you two still need to go.
I'll pull out the mechanical beetle, whisper Cecil to its ear, and toss it over the gate.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. And so this, you see, like maybe it literally like wings pop out and starts kind of flies
That's awesome.
around and then lands like this little mechanical beetle lands on your shoulder. Okay. So then Gurgle,
Identify
what's
how
next?
Then I'll join the group of Milk and Mac.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay. So you're in the group now with Mac and with Melka. What do you want to do
And
now?
I'll shoot my bow and arrow to the
Okay.
cracks to the left of me.
Okay, so one of the cracks to the left, you will say, was maybe tending some kind of cook fire, and is sort of racing after you at this point, kind of closing in, seeing what's happening. So yeah, go ahead.
The bow does a d6 plus perception. I'll spend 2 on it.
All right, fantastic.
Oh,
So
I rolled a 1. 3 damage.
3 damage. Hey, every little bit counts. Okay, so
Welcome, Long. Welcome to
Fire.
the rolling one.
Mm-hmm.
One of these
Group.
fish folk arrows are sticking out with the little like bone quill or something, and he looks at it, smashes this giant like butcher cleaver that he was using to like hack through whatever he was cooking for the night, and continues to come in your direction. Sarla, you're the last one.
All right, so Sarla has this kind of newish spear that she's got. And so she's just kind of like got a scowl on her face and she's like, "You're giving us a bad name." And she just kind of runs in with the spear at the one that Gurgle,
Okay.
kind of joining that group with Gurgle on that one.
Well, he's not in a group with them. He fired a range attack. So if you're looking to melee
That's right. Sorry,
attack,
the one that he fired at is
Okay.
the one that I'm going to.
all
so
right, so
yeah.
now you're in a group with that one while
Yes.
your allies are in their own separate group.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Go for it.
So spending
Remember
my
that if you
last
have-
reflex.
If you have any minor actions, kind of like what Melko was doing, if you have any minor actions in Mac, like to reduce power, like you have seen that they have counterattacks. So in case you wanted to do that beforehand.
Yeah, my minor action is a bite. So unfortunately, this thing is going to get 2 counterattacks on me because I do my stab and then a bite. So
Some cracks on cracks action.
it is.
Crackety crack crack.
Things
All right,
cracks the
so-
cracks. God damn it. Look what you made me do, Jerry.
I chimed in, but secretly I was making you do it.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, so I had spent a reflex and I rolled an 8, so it's a 9 on my first attack. So
9 points of damage. Wow.
no, that was my roll. Sorry. Sorry.
Roll for what?
No, sorry. I'm getting myself confused. I need to roll a d6, not a d10.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, there's no, you automatically hit. Yeah, you automatically hit. It's
I forgot about that. Yeah.
just- okay.
Okay, I rolled a 5. So
Nice.
that's a 6 on the spear attack, which
So
also
6 total
decreases
damage?
2 power.
Okay, so 6
Yes,
total
because I
damage.
spent 1 reflexes and I rolled a 5.
Okay, so it's not going to take him out just yet, but it is gets him very lower, and it takes out how much power?
2 power. So the
Okay.
spear takes out 2 power.
So he like hacks through the arrow that Gurgle just fired into them, which gives him a second that you can then intersperse yourself between you and where Gurgle was, and you're able to just jam the spear in a little bit unexpectedly. But as he looks at it, instead of trying to hack through the spear, he instead just goes forward with his cleaver and tries to catch you in your long snout. And yeah, so he's going to roll a d6 plus 3 at this point since you reduce his power. 5 points. 5 points of damage back at you.
That
Okay.
goes to armor.
Okay. And then you said you had a minor action that you wanted to do too. He's
Yes.
not looking good. You can tell you got him really good. Like the blood from the bow, from the arrow shot, and then this big spear wound in his gullet. You could possibly finish him off here.
Okay, so
If
I
you
have
kill
to
him, he
spend
can't counterattack.
This is true. So I spend 1 strength, and then the bite attack is 1d4. So I'm rolling the 1d4 and adding 1. No, I'm not. I'm just spending a strength so that I can do 1d4 damage.
Okay, roll a
1d4
3
plus
or a
nada.
4, and he's dead.
Well, I rolled a 2.
Okay.
I had 2
So-
options and got one of the other 2.
So you snap out, you bite him like in the side of the face, but then he's going to do the same thing right back to you. Like this, like he's in these death throes now.
Sure.
Okay. D6 plus 3, 7 points of damage this time.
Oh, crap.
Okay, so he grabs
Okay.
on and just holds on to holds it like so. We have like these 2 crocodiles that are fighting with their long snouts, and like you nip him, but then he gets you and just grabs and squeezes. All
His
right.
bite is stronger than my bite.
Don't forget, all of you've purchased a bunch of consumables and stuff, so feel free to use it. That is everyone's turn. It means it's their turn now. We're going to start outside. The one that's on Cecil is going to attempt to attack Cecil. So his power is going to go up by 1. This is just sort of the default mechanism. Power goes up 1. So he's going to snap out at you with a d6 plus 1. That is a 4 total, sort of a 3 plus 1. So 4.
So my armor's wiped out now.
But don't forget, there was the beetle thing.
Oh,
that you
that's
got.
right. So the beetle gives.
So,
Sorry.
would you long say it again?
It
Sorry.
blocks up to 4 damage.
And
Perfect.
So, yeah, so it blocks.
Nice.
So it blocks all of that damage. Perfect. Okay. And so right as he goes to bite into you, like the beetle just like leaps off and like gets inside the mouth, and you see these spikes just come out in every direction. So when it bites down, and he spits out this mangled
That's a good beetle.
mechanical beetle.
My heart will go on for you.
Okay. Then I'm going to say one of them is going to charge in at you, and he is going to do the same thing. He's going to attack you. He, however, has a lot of power, as he's actually up
Okay.
to 6 power.
Oh, good.
Sorry, buddy.
That's all right.
That's 9. 9 total damage.
Okay.
He comes up and he some of these the guys have like weapons and things, so they're not just like biting, but they come up and they just hack away into you with this
Okay.
hatchet.
All right.
And I think the other one is going to attempt to instead like knock the gate down or climb over the gate. So I'm going to have that one start scrambling up so he can get into the fight, because I think they feel pretty confident that they're going to get you. So
Okay.
one of them's going to be running inside. Inside, the Cracks on Cracks, the one over by Sarla, is going to attack Sarla.
This is bad.
His power does go up 1. Right. That's a 1 on the dice. That's 5 to you.
Well, that takes me down to exactly 0.
Okay. You don't have any armor or anything?
I burned through it.
Okay. All right. So so Sarla goes down. Okay. Let's go back to those rules. Where'd they go?
Yeah, I'm looking at that too.
Yeah, if you reach 0, you take the wounded and death's door conditions. While on death's door, you roll 1d6 every turn instead of taking action. On a 5 to 6, you gain back 1 health, and you lose the death's door condition. And on a 1, you take 1 final action and then die. I do think someone can come over and heal you and stuff, though. So that's another way to remove
and
it.
wounded gives you a -2 to all die rolls. So
That is true.
everybody keep me honest on that.
No one would ever try to do so. You'd lie too much and cheat. Okay, next. We have commands for it, Melissa. All right. One of them is going to come up.
Crap on the cracker.
There's 2 more in here that are going to charge into the group of Nurgle, Melka, and Mac. I have a 1d3, so let's see who they attack. They're going to attack Gurgle. So the first one's going to charge in, sees another fish folk, and is going to go after you. Right. And don't forget, all of you in the same group, you can choose to you can literally choose to split damage. You can take damage for other people. Just say how much you want to take for them. So here it comes. God, I'm rolling crap tonight. But even with that, still 8 points of damage to you, Gurgle.
8
Tough
damage.
dudes. Yeah.
I'll take 4 of that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Split it. It catches my bracer in his mouth.
So, and you hear the sounds of like Rickard's voice maybe in your head, and maybe there's like a small cold gust of air as you realize like he's there watching over you. Okay. So then the last one is going to run up into that same group, and he is going to target. He's going to target Mac. So Mac, this one's going after you. Let me move his power up 1 since it's his turn. Okay. That is a 3 on the dice. That's 9 to Mac. Okay.
Split 4 back.
Oh,
You're gonna take 4 for him? Oh, you guys are
Yeah,
so
it'll break.
nice.
It'll break all my damage or armor.
Okay. All right.
You're still using armor.
All right.
yeah.
And that is the end of
I'm still using a little bit of armor myself.
That is the end of their turn. I will say though that some of you inside can see climbing up over the gate, there is this other Krax that's getting ready to like hop down on the other side of the gate on the next round.
Max screams up to him, "Wait your turn! I'll be over there in a minute."
What?
Amazing.
No, wait. You wait your turn, and I'll be over there in a minute. What?
And then gets very confused and falls down. Okay, so who's going first? Don't forget you have
Mac
items.
will bring. What's that?
No, I was just gonna say, don't forget your items. You guys have items.
Yeah.
You definitely should use them. Okay, go ahead, Mac.
So Mac is going to attack the one who just attacked him first by smacking him in the side of the head with his tongue
Absolutely.
to mess him up a little bit.
Reduces power. That'd
for
be
4
awesome.
points of power. For 4.
Okay. All right.
Hold on, let me mark off that reflex, and then I'm going to bring the great sword around. I'm going to spend 3 strength on this to make
Okay.
it +7 damage.
Whoa. Roll
I
well.
rolled an 8, so I get to roll the die again.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
Wow.
Rolled
just gonna
a
wipe the-
7, so that's
20 something.
15, 22 points of damage.
All right. And describe how you take this one out.
This time he just brings the sword around and just shoves it down through the top of his head, through his skull, cracks his entire sternum, and then just kind of rips the sword forward. And again, he smells so bad, Malcolm.
He
Oh,
really
so
does.
He really does. Can you kill them a little further away?
I'm so sorry. I'm trying.
Okay, thank you.
And then,
Fantastic.
but you have to move.
You have to move before your attack,
Okay.
unless you have something special. There's like
I
there's
don't.
some talents and there's
I
some
don't.
things that do, but no. Okay.
I was gonna,
All right.
I was gonna
That's-
move over to try to convince the guy that was fighting Sarla to attack Mac, but
That was still pretty phenomenal. You took a dude
That was
from full
great.
health to nothing in 1 strike. So that's awesome.
Fantastic.
what he's built to do. He's not built to
exactly.
do anything else.
All right. Who is next?
I'll twirl all of this group into the group with Sarla.
Okay. You race over to help Sarla out. You can see Sarla's laying on the ground as
Crack
this other
open
one's standing.
the
yeah.
fresh jar of bog. The stench deadlier than this encampment. It'll wake up anybody.
Okay.
Give Sarla a sniff of it. So,
So
you get
removes-
10 health and removes
Yeah.
one condition.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So give yourself.
Stuff.
So as you, the cork, everyone, including this guy's like, oh God, what? And all of you, it just smells awful. And then you, and as they're like reeling back from the smell, that gives you the opportunity to get down there and just shove the jar right into Sarla's big open mouth, crocodile tongue lolling out, and you just pour it down her throat. Sarla, maybe it's the horrific taste and the horrific smell that brings you back from death's door. But you take 10 HP back. And since you can remove a condition, wounded is a condition, so you can remove wounded.
So that's what I
Amazing.
was going to ask, because I currently have wounded
so.
in Death's Door. So would Death's Door automatically go
When
away
you
because
get-
I have HP?
When you get HP, yeah, you lose the runic
Okay,
condition whenever
and
you
so
get
then
HP
wounded
back.
also goes away.
Nice.
Okay.
You are back up. Well played.
And I'll set an arrow. Get up,
Oh,
Sarla.
thank you, Gurgle.
Set an arrow back to
Nice.
the cracks I left.
Oh, and your turn rapid
Nice.
fire. Okay, I like it. This is a great turn, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stuff.
That's some strategery there.
Nice. Level
Yeah.
3.
3 points. Hey, oh, fantastic. All right,
Chipping
so
away.
yeah, for sure. Okay, and you avoid counterattacks by firing from range. Perfect. All right, Sarla, you just you're awake. You see Gurgle standing over top of you, defending you. There's this other cracks that nearly bit your face off. That's right next to you. You can see there's two cracks dead on the ground already, courtesy of Mac. Do you want to do something here? You want to get
I
back
would
into the fight?
definitely like to do something. So I'm trying to look at action economy here. So, minor action includes using a consumable. So I'm
Mhm.
assuming movement action would be like getting up.
Probably.
Would be just movement action.
Yeah, I would think so.
So then, minor action.
I don't know if prone. Actually, prone's not a condition, so I don't think it mechanically you have to
Okay, so I
spend
don't
your
have to-
movement action to
okay,
get up.
that's
So
fine.
yeah, I don't think you need to do that.
Okay. What I would like to do then, because this kind of attack, counterattack, minor attack, counterattack was pretty painful. So what she's
He
instead
doesn't
going to
look
do
good
is-
though. I will tell you that. You can see he
I'm-
is. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to attack him, but first I'm going to throw my bottle demon, which is 1d10 spirit damage ranged and is not splash,
hmm
back to this one in the group with
The one that Gurgle
Mac.
just fired at. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Bottle
um,
demon. You said that's a D12. I think
yeah.
D12 spirit damage.
Ooh.
d10 spirit damage.
D12 for bottle demon.
Oh,
Yep. That's what it says.
are you sure?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
base
reading it as
53.
well.
Oh.
D12.
D12.
Wow.
It's right there.
Have you been cheating,
Excellent.
Melissa?
I'm cheating
I
Classic.
the wrong
read
way.
d10 in my notes.
Melissa.
I know. Like that's so unlikely.
Classic Melissa.
And I rolled a 4.
Okay, hey, that's still great, and you don't suffer a counterattack because it's a ranged attack.
Yes.
So that brings them down.
Then
They don't
I
have any
am going
resistances
to-
it. So yeah,
just look at this one in front of me.
It smells so bad. Oh, you stink.
It really does, but that's what happens when you have good friends. You do not have good friends.
That's my buddy, right?
Beard.
Ah, Tony! Oh, God!
and he looks down at the one that Mac has just killed.
I'm out of reflexes, so this is just a straight D6 for the
Okay.
damage roll. 5.
All right, he had a grand total of 1 health left. So describe Sarla how you take him out.
So again, just sort of the like, I have better friends. My friends are good friends. Your friends are not, which is important.
Best
that they're
friends!
just all bad dudes.
Best friends!
And she just takes this because she's kind of getting up as she does this, and so it's
Mhm.
just in through the bottom of this long crocodile snout that the spear goes up into.
Best is superlative.
And he falls and dies. Okay.
Love it.
Let's see. Melka, you haven't gone inside, right? You haven't gone
I
yet. Go.
haven't.
Go ahead.
Okay, so, okay, great. Thanks, Gurgle. Okay, you're next. And nobody likes you anymore. Minor action taunt for -2 power. We
So
killed all your
mean.
friends.
What? Tony, no!
Okay.
And I ran so far away. And she's gonna attack with the storm sword. We're not using the same D8. We will use the Norse Foundry dice gave me an 8 on the D8. With
There are buddies.
poop. I forgot to add knowledge this time. Oh well, 8 points of damage.
Describe how you take this one out. He had been damaged by 2 shots from Gurgle and Sarla, so he was pretty low already. So describe how you take this one out.
Sorry, Mac. It's my fault this time. The smell really is really bad.
But I really liked your singing. The song is so good. Keep it up.
Oh, thank you. I think it makes me think about seagulls.
And whole flocks of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
We
Okay.
should go and we gotta go rescue Cecil now.
Meanwhile,
Good idea. He's our
Meanwhile-
Best friend.
third best friend.
Third best friend.
dude up on the gate is like, "Hey,
You Cecil, they're talking about you up here.
Cecil,
No.
you've got 2 on you.
Okay.
You're all by yourself. What do you want to do?"
One of them is pretty hurt.
Yeah.
One.
The one to the east of you is very, very hurt. So you can tell that he is bleeding. He's the one whose eyes you burned with your spices. You stabbed him with some of the poison because I gave you the attack also having the poison on it. And so he was like, you can tell he is in very bad shape. The other one looks fine.
Yeah. So I'll spend a supply. And first things first, the guy who just came over and took a bite out of me, I'll toss spice in his eyes.
All right. So what is that?
That's going to be a D6.
This is attack, right?
No, that's not an attack. That's my minor action. Spend a supply, throw spice in his
power?
eyes for power.
Yeah, for power reduction. Yeah. Okay. So it's like the max tongue, basically.
Only 2 power.
Hey, man. Every little bit.
It is what it is. So first I'll attack the guy. I'll do my first knife attack on the guy who's injured to see if I can put the other one into the other dude.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
While you're rolling that, welcome Raiders from Demon
Oh,
X
yeah.
and Matt in the Hat.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Oh, geez. In the Rebel Pilot.
Ooh,
Awesome. Thank you for the raids, all 3 of you.
Ooh,
nice.
thank you.
So, how'd you do?
5.
Describe how you take this one out.
Yes.
So he tosses the spice to the one guy's eyes, and then as the other guy looks for a second, just kind of like the knife goes into the throat, pulls down, and then the other knife will go back into the belly of his friend.
And by the time he like wipes his eyes off, he looks back, and that's when the knife comes in. So go ahead and roll your damage for the second one.
So for the second one, I'll go ahead and I feel like I need to get in as much as I can early. So I'll spend 3 reflexes to make it a D4 plus 5 on him.
Nice.
Good.
I'll roll a 1 on the damage, as you do.
Of
What's the
course, as
total?
you do.
As you do.
What's the total damage?
6 damage.
All right. He does get his counterattack, though, as the other one
That's
died,
fair.
so he didn't get it. This one, however, will. He is at a 4 power currently because
Okay.
he reduced it by 2, so he's got a D6 plus 4. All right. Damn it. That's a lolly. That's 10 points of damage back at you. I rolled a
Okay.
6 and a D6.
So I have a question. If you have an ability that doesn't specifically call for using an action, I'm curious
Okay.
how it works in a turn there, because there's a thing called Roaring Oven. I'm curious about
Let's
how that
look.
works in turn of when I can use it.
You may spend 4 strength to restore all of your health. Was that? Did you look it up in the book? I'm pretty sure I just copy pasted the descriptions of everything into the.
And in the book, it
spreadsheet.
doesn't mention an action,
Yeah.
but I can understand also, like, I don't want to cheese it, like, oh, he's taking me down, and then I do the thing. But
And
at
I
the same
think-
time,
Given the title of it, I would guess it's meant to be like a, not necessarily a combat ability. But do you have 4 strength?
yes, I do.
Then spend it because it doesn't like. I don't want to take just the flavor of the title as like the mechanical description says spend 4 strength and restore it. So let's go by the mechanical description. And so we'll say spend your 4 strength.
It looks like he like almost like it's right at the brink that Cecil should go down. And then just from the folds of his little chef's coat, he pulls out this little vial and pulls out this like wrinkled dry pepper that's just acrid, and he just bites it. Woo! Mm. Oh, goddamn spice enough to make you want to kiss the baby. I'm going to kill you.
It's the baby? What? You just say?
I had this dude, like, he was this two-toothed bastard that was that dude from Louisiana. That was his thing he would say.
That's so good.
So bad it makes you want to kiss the baby. And so, yeah.
Okay.
So now I'm back up to 12th health again. And that's why the cider is so great. Because I can just keep drinking cider, getting my strength back, and just basically be like the Wolverine version of a chef.
All right, so taking stock of things inside the inside crew, you've taken out 4 of them. So all 4 of the ones that were attacking you, you have taken them out. One of them has climbed up on top of the gate and is looking down and just watched you obliterate his allies. And so I'm going to say that he looks and then he just starts to slowly climb back down at that point on the outside.
You better not hurt Cecil.
Rushing away into the darkness. So I'm going to say this one's... so one of them is fleeing. So one of them's going to take the flee. I think I'll attack you. I think he's going to attack you. I think he would. Because you're already in a fight. You just stabbed him a couple times. I think the other one never got touched. And so I think he's just like, let me just get out of here. So a D6. And since this is the start of his turn, he gets 1 power back. So it's a D6 plus 5. So that's 9 points of damage coming to you, Cecil, as he hacks into you at this point. Okay. That is the end of the round. There is fire all about because you've interrupted this crew. Like, Cecil, you attacked and interrupted the crew that was putting the fire out. So this southern tower, the southern walls of this place is now fully aflame. The group that went to the northern tower, they haven't responded to this cacophony of things that is happening here. You see all these different gates, these cages all around. You can see there's these people shouting, like these little grass kin, like, help me, help, help. And you see like there's some fish folk that are kind of languishing inside of these cages that are half sunken into the bog. What I'm gonna say, everyone we'll just sort of take a narrative action here, because I think the fight has been won. So we'll just sort of like narrate, what would you do? So start with Melka. Seeing everything around you, what would Melka do?
Mac, wait, let's go get Cecil. Let's go rescue Cecil. She would run to the door, open the gate, and try to sing attack the everybody wants to rule the world. Attack the last cracks.
And so you push the door open. You see this Cracks fighting with Cecil, and you just sort of like
5 seconds at a time.
You just sing, and you can see that maybe you throw the sword and it just comes through the air, and you hear like the wind, Cecil, behind you. You look back just in time to move your head, and the sword goes right past you into this one that's standing in front of you. Okay. Cecil, give me one more narrative action. What's one more thing you do now?
I was like actually just looking at my, okay, so consume something is a minor action. So basically, like, he's just pinball healing himself, because like he just chugs the cider, does roaring fire again, goes back up to full health points, and goes back to stabbing him.
Okay, and so between this giant sword and then you just kind of knifing him the rest of the way, eventually this guy falls. Sarla, what is the narrative action you take here?
So Sarla is going around to everyone who's like the fish folk and whatnot that are like tied up.
And there's several.
She's like, I'm not with them. I'm not with them. Here, I'm letting you go. I'm not with them. I'm not with them. Letting you go. Here,
okay.
I got you. You're good. You're good.
They are all very like nervous and tentative and like huddle in the backs of these cages that they're in. But as you let them go, and as some of them have seen what you've done, they see you, like your face is dripping from the damage that you took for them. Eventually they come out, but they give you a wide berth, but They start coming out and they help some of their friends out and they start quickly getting everyone together as the fire is still beginning to, it's spreading. It's literally spreading at this point and it's creating this like circular ring. And so they're hurrying to get everyone loose. And you see these groups of people that are starting to they do the same thing you're doing, going through and letting people out. Mac, what's something you do?
Mac goes running out of the Palisades and just juts down, scoops up all of the buckets from these cracks, and he just starts, he just with all of his strength, just throwing bog water up near the gate and near the wall to try to keep the fire away from the exit so everybody can get out.
It's like a freaking, it's like one of those old-fashioned, sprinklers. You just get up, swing. And you see these splashes.
Yes.
And it is getting nervous because the gate catches on fire and it's kind of swinging here and there. But by dousing it with the water, you're able to kind of keep it open and you leave a place of escape. And then Gurgle, what about you, man?
I'd help everyone else out of the encampment, lead them towards the south, out of the swamps.
All right. So what we'll say then is that you are to kind of close this down. You're able to, like, with your quick thinking, setting these things on fire. You split up this encampment, and so half went to the north. By the time the ones to the north even noticed, half the encampment was already set ablaze. You already killed some of these cracks, and you managed to set a lot of these folk free. So you've radically destabilized any strength that this group have. Obviously, some of the cracks raiders were able to run away here and there, but they are nowhere near the threat that they might have once been had they not been attacked. We'll say you are able to, with Gurgle leading the way, you're able to like make it back through the swamp itself, and eventually you maybe around dawn, we see you all kind of approaching the camp where the Ironcrawler is, where Eldrin is. And you're able to start bringing people back to their various homes. Of the Grasskin, there's probably about half a dozen or so that are still alive. And the fish folk, there's maybe about 4 or 5. Maybe the fish folk go over to Stilt Town as they don't have their own village left. It's a village off to the east that literally is in the middle of a lake on stilts. The Grasskin people are able to go back and like rejoin with Fern. And as like maybe the last thing we see is you all like in the Grasskin village and like Fern coming and thanking you, the villagers coming in, giving you like all sorts of like, like little garlands of like hats and like putting like leis over you and giving you various treasures and trinkets and food and such, and just thanking you for what you've done. And then we'll say once that celebration, very Return of the Jedi like, transpires throughout the day, you all pop back into Crawler, say your goodbyes, and you head further southwest in the direction of where you've been intending to go this whole time, which is the Toad City of Ulm. And we'll go ahead and we'll close it down there. All right.
Yay!
I like it. Guys crushed that.
Nice.
That was awesome. You split it in half. Otherwise, there was going to be 10 of them. So I just said, okay, I'm going to send half of them up there because they're tough.
Well,
like they don't have a ton of health, but they hurt.
They hit hard.
Whenever you're attacking
a counterattack,
reinforced compound, you've got to split the forces and destabilize their defenses. It's
perfect.
Standard tactics.
Standard.
Or light
perfect.
everything on fire.
Well, that's how you distract and destabilize.
It's definitely part of it. Awesome. This was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed this game. I would like to come back to it at some point and do more of this. But it's super fun. If you're unfamiliar with it, Arzum, it's by Red Raven Games. They mostly make board games, which several of us on the screen here now, Jeremy as well, I think just purchased. He just purchased Above and Below. So like we have a bunch of fans here of their games, and they just put out this role-playing game not too long ago set in the same universe, Arzum, as many of their board games. And it's just super fun. It's light. It's got nice little mechanics to it. It's not like super heavy. You can still do some fun little strategic things and there's fun little builds and such. So I highly recommend it. I really enjoyed it. Okay. But yeah, we're going to be moving on next week to something else. What I'll talk about in a second. Why don't we do some closing plugs? I'm going to start with Aaron. Aaron, what do you got going on over at Garblik?
At Garblag next week on Tuesday, Pete will be back in the GM's seat on Garblag Games YouTube channel at, I want to say, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Electric States. So that should be a lot of fun. It's a new game that Free League put out. I will be back on Wednesday in the Trail Boss seat. We weren't able to get Huckleberry started this week because I have contractors at the house who are asshats. But next Wednesday, we'll be doing character creation and starting an excellent adventure that Steven wrote and Jeff edited. Then on Thursday,
I know which one
we. Yeah.
I know. I just had to think about it for a second. I know which one you're doing. Yeah, Wheeling Wallow. Yeah.
And then, Wailing Wallow. Should be a lot of fun. And then on Thursday, Richard will be back in the GM seat. We'll be back in the Warhammer 40K universe with Imperium Maledictum. So that should be a lot of fun too.
All right, fantastic. And if you want to get your own copy of Huckleberry, huckleberryrpg.com, our buddy Steven has been working really hard on it. Got some new updates very recently, including the Divine Comedy, which is the game, which is the AP that we ran about a month or so ago on our channel. You can actually now get it available over on DriveThru, as long with some tweaks and updates to the rules. And there's more stuff coming. Including the very adventure that Aaron's going to be running, and one that I wrote is eventually going to be coming out. I don't know when. I don't think it's on the schedule, but we'll see how that goes. Okay. Other things. Tomorrow night, Aaron, back GMing for us, is we're going to be playing some more Dragonbane. Everyone here but Jeremy is in that game. How do you feel about that, Jeremy?
He's missed.
Just look at his face.
Sorry. I don't know why I did that. That feels mean.
Oh.
Now I feel...
That's okay. It's okay because you hammer me on the Otherscape stuff all the time. So it's only fair that
That's
you
true.
spread the love.
He's in that one, so it's only fair.
I only like to play
Exactly.
the victim. I don't feel bad at all.
It's a little kind of a psychopath thing it might be. Let's see. Other than that, Saturday, we've got some Call of Cthulhu. Me, Melissa Long, we are in that along with some of our other friends. It is pretty crazy. We're playing through Eternal Lies. We're about halfway through in Bangkok. Has been really it's been a shit show, like in all the best kind of ways. It's been pretty amazing. Monday, as Aaron has already mentioned, we were playing some Otherscape, so you can see us playing through our Mythos Cyberpunk game. Tuesday, Steven runs us through some Star Trek, and I think he said we might be at some point starting our next adventure that night. And then next Thursday, we're moving on to a new game. We're going to be doing our session 0 for a new game that we're playing, Swords of the Serpentine. This is really heavy, and I'm going to go ahead and put it down now. First time Gumshoe system, if you're unfamiliar with Gumshoe system, Trail of Cthulhu, Dracula's Dossier, all that kind of good stuff, or Night's Blast Agents, I should say. But we're going to be playing Swords of the Serpentine, which is like a sword and sorcery Venetian Renaissance era kind of stuff with all sorts of fancy stuff. So we're going to be making our characters, making our crew, doing a little world building, all that kind of good session 0 stuff next week to start our new campaign. And that's what we got. Melissa, thank all the people who rated us again while I get a raid set.
Yes. So we had Epic Fumbles, and then we had Demon X, and then we had Man Hat, and then we had the Rebel Pilot.
Perfect. And we're going to raid our friends over at Insomnia Night RPG. Follow the raid. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see you all later. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Good night.